Hi, everybody. Sam here. I am so excited to be here with my new friend Lena. We've been talking and laughing a little bit before I hit record here, and we're going to have a great conversation today. If you are new to Safe Heart Connections, we are so glad you found us. If you have been around for a while, we're glad you came back. And if you are wanting to build a life or a business that loves you back while honoring your energy, you can do that one choice at a time. And maybe something that we talk about today will be the thing to help you to get from where you're at now to the next little step on the path. You don't have to do all the things, do one thing and just continue down the path. So, Lena, I'm glad you're here. I would love for you to share what I like to call your superhero origin story, just to let everybody get to know you a little bit.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much, Sam. I love your community. Um, I love what you're doing here and your format. Oh, that was one of the things we were laughing about. Shorter is better. Shorter is like a ride to the grocery store, right? So that's awesome. So, hi everyone. I'm Lena, and I'm going to say that the story that I'm going to tell you started when I was probably in my, I don't know, mid 30s, and it it just finally started to hit me that I just didn't have the quality of relationships that I wanted to have. And I knew definitely that pertained to dating as well. And so I had a couple of circumstances happen, which included getting lost in the south of France while I was supposed to be on a hiking trip. And I wound up sitting on a curb of a traffic circle with all of these cars racing around me. And I was just sobbing and feeling like I would never find my way around. I would never find my way home. And I paused in that and I heard this voice in my head that said, okay, you can give up and you can go home and you can tell that story for the rest of your life, or you can figure it out. Which story would you like to tell? You got 10 seconds. Go. And I, it was literally the first time in my life that I had ever realized that I could have, so that my story didn't just have to go, that my life just didn't have to go in a certain way. I was like, wait, I have the ability to change this for myself. I have the ability to actually do something to change the trajectory. That actually happened right on the eve of my 40th birthday. So it was a long time coming, but after that, I just got more interested and I started reading and I started um, really studying and figuring out how can I make the changes? How can I create what I want in my life? And I wanted to have a really healthy romantic relationship, something I had never had before. But I also wanted to have, like I said, all of my relationships. I had wonderful friends, but I had very few friends, very specific friends. I just wanted to feel more of a community. And I wanted to have more really wonderful women in my life. I wanted to have better relationships with my family. And so that was the beginning of all of it. And so over the course of time, what led me to doing what I'm doing right now is that I became a relationship coach because I got coaching for myself and had such transformative experiences in that that I really wanted to pay it forward. And right now, I work with women who want to create really enriched, healthy, respectful, balanced, loving relationships. And a lot of those women are from like their late 30s into early 40s, and a lot of them want to have children. But they don't want to just be single parents. They want to be married and have children. And what I want to offer to you that really resonates for me is that these women are finding me. These women are finding me and seeking me out. And it's not anything I ever said, but when I really sat down and thought about it, that period of time, because like I said, that huge aha moment came just at my 40th birthday. Uh, my mom passed away when I was 38, and uh, about a year later, my dad moved to a town that's very close to where I am. And so from the time that I was 39 through my early 40s, and for a few years, he became my primary relationship. And I was happy to make that choice. I made that choice, but I don't think I realized that it meant I was making another choice, which was I ultimately don't have my own children. And so I love to help women who want to still create that for themselves do that. And that's
So
how
good.
I wound up here.
There's so many things you said that I could touch on. And one is sitting on that curb, you made one choice. That's all it takes.
Mhm.
You don't have to do all the things. You
Right.
don't. And before we hit record, and most of the people listening, if you've been around me a while, you know Andre, my relationship coach. And one of the things that I think that you guys have in common is what he sees is that the way the culture is teaching us and training us up now is go girl, boss babe, let's get some stuff done, build your career first, and then go back and have kids. And then by the time you do that, you're like, what?
Yeah.
What? And then they think they're going to miss out. And so um, I'm glad you had the relationship with your dad. And I also heard the missing out on having kids. And it's true, when you say yes to one thing, almost always you're saying no to something else.
Exactly. And what I did do though, so just a few years ago, I I really started to miss that. I really started to miss not having had the experience of raising children. And there I made one choice at that point. I became a foster mama. And I thought that
Love
was going to be
that.
something I was going to be doing for years. I had this vision of how that was going to go. And that didn't go in that way. But I will tell you what happened. It went in the way that it was meant to happen, which is I was brought a 3-week-old baby who I raised until she was about 4 and 4.5 months old. And all of my dear friends in this large community of women who I have created over all these years, co-created with them, every single one of them, I kept thinking, none of my friends out here has kids, so there's not going to be anybody to help me. Well, again, we have to really think about what we say to ourselves and what we believe. And so, no, my friends who didn't have kids, well, I forgot. One is the oldest of seven. She knew about raising kids. One is an aunt and a great aunt to eight. She knows about raising kids. One of my friends actually helped in the birth of her niece and helped raise her for the first 4 years of her life. So I mean, it just all becomes, what are we saying to ourselves? And when we stop and think about it, oh, our angels show up for us when we're open to that.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. And it sounds like you had done the legwork to build the connections beforehand. I I tell women all the time, it's not if, it's when something's going to happen, and you're going to need to know who you can reach out to. And it sounds like you did a marvelous job of building that out. So tell me before, like we could probably do this all day long, and we haven't even got to your tip. And I'm so excited. This has been so good. But I would love for you to share your tip, thought, or piece of advice so that anybody listening has something that they can at least chew over, whether no matter if they agree or not, it's something to consider. And I believe there's always going to be something we can learn, even if it's just like one little tiny thing. Selena, what would you say for us today?
I want to offer to you all to learn yourself. Learn when something resonates for you. Learn what it feels like in your body when you hear something that's a yes. Learn what it feels like in your body when you hear something that's a no. Because we live in a world right now where people are looking outside of themselves for advice, right? There are people who are experts and people want to listen to the experts and know what they have to say, and that's great. But those experts are experts in a particular topic. You are the expert in your own life. You are the expert in your own self. And it's great to check in and learn and find out things that you don't know and learn how to do things from people who do specialize in those things. But you also have to know if it really resonates for you and if that thing is something that you want to be doing.
Yeah, that's so good. So, ladies, I did not know what Lena was going to say, but I don't know if you heard, if you go back and listen to what I started to say before she shared, was I was leaning in on the fact of just because somebody says it doesn't make it true for you. And I don't normally say that on these interviews, but it is true. When somebody shares something with you, I like to do the idea of take it or toss it. Either it's good for you or it's not. Take the part that's good, get rid of the rest. And just consider, like, if it's somebody that you really love that really loves you, and you know that they want your best at heart, and they have the courage and the love to share something that they see in you, at least consider it. It doesn't mean it's true, but consider it, because sometimes people see blind spots. That's why they're called a blind spot, because we don't see them, right?
Exactly.
And so, if you're lucky enough to have people in your world that will speak the truth to you, I would say consider listening to it. But all these other gurus, these people out here that don't pay your bills, that don't go to bed and sleep,
Mhm.
like they're not in your space all the time. They're not, you're not accountable to them for anything. Learn what you need to learn and use it for your best and the highest good and call it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's so good. Such a good reminder. And I just want to remind the women listening, for those of you that know my story, I was married and divorced a million times. I round up barely. And um, the last marriage before my current marriage was abusive. I got out of that in 2015. And at that point, I thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to have a healthy, loving relationship. I don't even know what that looks like. What would
Mhm.
that even be? And after going through several different programs and processes and all the healing, that's when I got connected to a relationship coach. And that is likely the only reason I have a healthy relationship now, because I had done all the other inner work, but I hadn't dealt with what was causing me to choose a person that was toxic. And so
Mhm.
if you're stuck in a loop, I call it if you're stuck in the loop, and you are going from one bad relationship to another, or you just don't have the relationship that you know you were meant to have, you're alone and you're trying to figure out what to do, reach out to Lena. Find somebody. If you're not drawn to Lena, find somebody, because we are better together. We're not meant to do life alone. And you truly can have anything you want in life, one choice at a time. Maybe that choice today is to reach out, do something different, find somebody to help you. So, Lena, do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up today?
Um, I just want to again express my gratitude. I love what you do, Sam. I love your community, and I'm really, really grateful to be a part of it. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad you're here. Ladies, if you're watching, I'll make sure that Lena's links are around the video so you'll be able to click through and get connected to her. And I'm sure you'll be seeing her at future events and things as well, because we're definitely aligned. I will see you soon. Bye bye.